What is up, Universe? Jose back with another interview ahead of UFC 225. I'm here with Mike, the Truth Jackson Esquire. I know your Twitter says Esquire. Is that real?
No, man. I'm a fan of Bill and Ted.
Sure.
Bill S. Preston Esquire.
I got to ask about the shirt. Like a chick magnet?
Well, nah, I'm gonna have to, support the hometown guy
Sure.
here, CM Punk.
I got you.
We found out, so when I first got the shirt, right, I heard that's what it stood for. That was my reason for getting it. And then after the shirt came in, I mentioned it to someone, and they was like, nah, it stands for Chicago Made. Oh. And so I was like, oh man, I bought this shirt for no reason.
Right.
And then, he had this little court thing here recently, and he had to testify under oath that it stood for Chick Magnet. So I was happy again.
So victory number one for you.
Victory number one for me.
Were you following his court case at all? I mean, it's in the wrestling world, that's the hottest story of 2018 pretty much. And
wow, okay.
As his opponent, if he won, like they ruled in his favor. If it had ruled against him, he would have been a mess going in, I imagine. Were you following that at all?
I wasn't. For me, look, that's his thing. And I know some people like it send me messages and they wanted me to bring it up. Like, I mean, that's personal life,
Sure.
And that has nothing to do with me. I was actually hoping. I kind of found out like the details of what happened, and I was kind of pulling for him actually, because again, I'm a logical person, and you have these guys who, whatever they're offended or triggered for whatever reason, and they like to make little money grabs at people, and I'm 100% against that, And again, with Phil, it's nothing personal, it's a sport and it's a business move, and that's all it is. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy he got the win, but that's the only win he's going to get this week.
Do you wish it would happen, say, a few weeks earlier instead of all eyes are on him now, but it seems to be about his court case, and the fight is kind of secondary at this point?
Well, that's in his world.
Sure.
For me, the fight is first and foremost. I guess from his standpoint, it would have been beneficial for him to maybe happen a few weeks ago. Again, I've dealt with some minimal drama during fight week, in previous fights, and I know how much of a headache it can be. I have no clue what it's like to be facing this defamation type of suit, the week. I mean, that's huge. Sure. I've kind of just had like some shorties get mad at me or something, He has like a lawsuit on his hands.
Millions of dollars at stake.
Millions of dollars at stake, I can't fathom what he was going through, but like I said, he pulled through, he got a victory, and I'm happy for him.
Have you seen the pictures online that have popped up the last week? A lot's been made of, he doesn't look like he looks worn out, has been the thing. Like maybe the weight cut's getting to him, maybe the court case getting to him.
The crazy thing, I remember seeing him a while back, and I was like, yo, he always looks sleepy.
Yeah.
He has like these permanent bags under his eyes, And I think that's just his thing. But with the weight cut, he has a big cut ahead of him, from what I'm understanding. He's cutting from 200 plus pounds. And again, he was the World Wrestling Federation or Entertainment heavyweight champion.
Sure.
I've never been over 200 pounds in my life. I've never stepped on the scale and it read over 200 pounds in my life. Again, I like to eat. I can get pretty big, but, it's fight time. So I had to buckle down a little bit and had to bring the Truth Food Tour down a little bit,
And I'm glad you brought up the weight cut. Yesterday we talked to Clay, and then a few months ago we talked to Robert Whitaker, both on your card. Robert said that if his opponent missed weight, he wouldn't take the fight, and he doesn't understand fighters that would take it. Clay said he didn't care because he was going to win no matter what. What side of the fence do you fall on that?
Man, I understand, like the guys who said if you don't make weight that you wouldn't take the fight, but I can't be that guy, man. Because you lose out on yourself. You train hard for this fight, and it really doesn't make sense. Again, and I know it's from the outside world, people think like a half a pound or a pound or whatever is not a big deal. And I guess in the grand scheme, it's not. But again, you don't know what this guy's going to rehydrate to. So again, I understand. Like I know, again, I cover the sport. I work from the business side as well. I see a lot of going on the backside. And at the regional level, I work for, Legacy Fighting Alliance now. And we've had the Henry Cejudos, the Mackenzie Derns, who've missed quite a bit. And, they do have a benefit because, again, they rehydrate past that. Come fight night, they're not just a pound or 2 pounds over. That can be a considerable amount of weight. But again, it's a business decision. And when you're in a position, when you're fighting, you can't let that dictate the fight. And you don't fight, then you don't get paid either.
Sure.
You know.
So what do you think about Wonder Boy when Darren missed weight? He put it in his contract that Darren couldn't be above. He had to re-weigh in again the next day at 183, 188.
Right.
And if he was above, the fight was scrapped. Are
Right.
you more in favor of that?
I've seen that quite a bit actually, and you'll get that a lot at the lower level. They'll add that stipulation you come in. And I've seen people come in and they try to finagle it a little bit, you know. But you know, I've never really seen fights canceled because of that. But no, that's a great little clause to have in, and it gives people, like I said, there's some people who cut a lot of weight, and I've seen guys rehydrate 20, 25 pounds, you know, and those little stipulations are good, especially for someone who didn't necessarily make weight in the first place.
Sure.
You know, if he would have made the limit, I'm sure he would put on a lot of weight, you know, but now you add that stipulation, and then that plays into the fighter's head as well. You know, because on fight day, you're worried about the fight, but now you have to worry about, okay, I know I have to fight, but I also can't come in past this weight. You know, so I think from a strategic standpoint,
Sure.
I like it.
And what do you think about Dana White coming out this week saying he wanted to get rid of the early weigh-ins and bring back the old format where you get on stage sucked out in
Dude.
front of all the people? And we talked to Shorty Torres in Utica, and he weighed in early in 36 hours to rehydrate. He'd never had a fight like that. He loved it. Do you like these early weigh-ins, or do you want to go back to the old way?
You know, man, this is my first early
Sure.
weigh-ins, and I remember when they first brought it in, I was like, this is the best idea ever. And the reason why is, look, I've been in this sport 10 years, and I remember, or even up until my last fight, I had a boxing match this past September, and you have guys. Now again, I don't cut a lot of weight. You know, I hate weight cuts, but you have these guys, man, they may have some weigh-ins at like 6 p.m. You know, and everyone has their own plan. But again, if you do it the smart way, you're slowly losing the weight. I'm not cutting 15 pounds, you know, but there's some people who do that, and I think that's a detriment as well. The early weigh-ins are, and I think the issue a lot of people are having is it's new. It's a new sort of system. And so you have to plan accordingly, and everyone's sort of accustomed to planning on that evening kind of weigh-in. But I think that's the best way, is these early weigh-ins, so you don't have fighters going throughout the whole day, you know, drawn out. Look, I've been like, I don't like being hungry, you know, just I hadn't eaten in 6 hours, you know, let alone I hadn't eaten, I hadn't drinking, and I've been depleting my body of, you know, nourishment. I don't like that, you know, and I know if I don't like it, there are a lot of people who cut a lot more weight than I do who despise it, you know. So
Sure.
I think it's a bad move. I think we just need to, and see, that goes on to the fighters. Like, look, you know what the new system is. So you have to work the system. You have to plan accordingly. You can't take these fights like these weights and try to cut the weight the same way. You have to adjust.
Sure.
You have to evolve, just like the weight cutting system is doing.
Now, when you fight CM Punk, you're both 0-1 going in.
I'm not fighting CM Punk.
You're
I'm fighting Phil Brooks.
Phil Brooks. When you fight Phil Brooks on the pay-per-view, did you expect to be on the pay-per-view? We talked to Clay, he didn't care where he fought.
Right.
Overeem said he doesn't care. It seems to be more the fans and the media bringing it up.
Yeah.
Did you expect to be on the pay-per-view?
I did 100%. Here's why. I'm a businessman, and I understand the business of MMA.
Sure.
You can't have, we'll call him CM Punk here because that's how he got the fight.
Right.
Phil Brooks didn't get the fight. CM Punk got the fight. But you can't take a CM Punk character and, look, he's going to bring in a lot of fans. You can't take someone like that and put them on Fight Pass or put them on even Fox Sports. It doesn't make sense business-wise. Sure. Now, from a fighter standpoint, 100% it should be on Fight Pass at best, right? But that makes no sense.
Sure.
This guy he's getting a lot of money. And again, from a business standpoint, what's the main goal of a business?
Making money.
To make money.
Right.
And if you put a Phil Brooks or CM Punk on undercard, you're going to lose a lot of money. So it only makes sense. And I knew that from the jump.
So what do you think of, like, 10 years ago, you like you said, you've been around, you've been watching, you've been covering it. 10 years ago, you say Rashad Evans and Clay Guida are opening the card. That's got to sound real weird to you, though, right?
Yeah. To me, I remember when I saw the card, and I was just like, wow, this is a solid card. And this was just not knowing the fight order. And then once I saw Rashad Evans on the Fight Pass, I was like, I was like, man, this is a crazy,
Joseph
crazy event.
Benavidez, #1 flyweight in the world.
It's crazy, but again, man, it's business
Sure.
first. And I know the fans. Well, the crazy thing about it is you have all of these people who are upset, right? And what I don't understand is like, you get to see fighters, these elite level, these former champions, you get to see them fight for free. Why are you upset?
Right.
Because if I were a fan, I would be ecstatic that, Mike Jackson and CM Punk are on the main card. Because look, if you don't want to watch it, then don't watch it.
Right.
It's as simple. But if you're on the free card, so I remember when they first announced Holly Holm and Megan Anderson,
Yep.
right? Because originally they were on the undercard and
then
Overeem
they
were
flipped over
right.
the blades.
And people were upset about it. And I was like, yo, you get to watch an Invicta champion, you get to watch a boxing Hall of Famer and former women's or bantamweight champion fight for free.
Right.
And you're upset about
Right.
that? In my mind, I don't get it. I don't
Sure.
comprehend that. But as long as I've been in this game, I've realized that there's no rationale with fans and their logic and their thought process.
So speaking of the fans, do you get a lot of the, like, when I said I was interviewing you, a lot of the tweets I got said someone's O has got to go. Do you get that a lot?
It is the most, I was like, look, so I had this guy, right? He's a troll. And every picture I post on Instagram, he would come on was like, you suck, or CM's gonna be all this, right?
Sure.
It was nothing clever. Look, I'm all for a good troll. I love a troll. I'm the MMA secretary of counter trolling.
Right.
But my thing is, if you're gonna troll me, be funny, be clever, do something. You can't say the same thing.
Sure.
You know how many times I've seen someone's O has to go?
Right.
And now it's to the point, it's like, yo, so it has no meaning now. It's just, people are just talking. So the trolls, if you're listening and you're watching this, I don't mind the troll. And I love the CM Punk fans.
Sure.
I'm cool with it. But be funny, be clever, be creative with your trolling. Don't just say CM Punk is gonna win, or you suck, or someone's O has to go. Be clever. I'm doing you a favor here. All right? You're welcome.
Do you think any of your fans are going to him?
No, because I mean, that's just not me.
Sure.
Well, actually, let me rephrase. Maybe they are. I don't know, but that's not my thing. I'll take jabs here and there. Again, I did it to get the fight. I did a great job marketing this and promoting it and sort of speaking this, into
Sure.
existence. But at the end of the day, we're gonna handle it. And I'm an entertainer, so I'm not going out there to take them down and lay on them. I'm going out there to put on a show. And the fans are gonna get a show this Saturday.
So say your O goes and you go become 1-1. Are you going to stay in the UFC and keep fighting, or is this just like one fight?
I don't know, to be honest with you. For this training camp, I dedicated more time and I was more efficient with this.
Sure.
I know for the golf fight, and not making excuses, but the golf fight was, I had taken 8 weeks off from training. And even before taking 8 weeks off, all I had been doing is boxing and kickboxing. I want to say, and what was the fight, 2016?
Mm-hmm.
So probably 2015 to 2016, I can probably count on one hand how many grappling classes I had been to or how many times I had rolled. And that was just because I'm a striker and I love to strike. Look, if I have to choose between grappling or punching someone in the face, I'm going with the punching someone in the
Right.
face 100% of the time. So I wasn't doing any type of real MMA training or even sparring. And then I had a nagging injury. My doctor told me take 8 weeks off. I did that. And then literally I went back in the gym that Monday. And I trained Monday through Thursday. And again, I'm just like, I felt the 8 weeks off,
Sure.
And then Friday, I went out of town. I got the call on Saturday.
Wow.
And I was like, well, it wasn't presented that I was going to be in the UFC. It was the way it was presented that it was going to be an LFA card. The winner goes on to the UFC. And I was kind of, I don't know. Well, then once I found out, you're going to, who's going to turn that down?
Right.
And so, and even then, it was a short notice. I want to say it was a month after. So in that month, it was sort of like a crash course back into MMA. And I wasn't prepared for it. I was going on, I have knockout power. If you watch my boxing, kickboxing matches, you've seen that. And so I went into that fight with the expectation of knocking Mickey Gall out. I didn't prepare well for the fight. This training camp, I've 100% changed everything up. I wouldn't say it was the hardest training camp that I've been in, but it's been the most efficient and it's been the smartest camp that I've been in. You know, I've added solid grappling, both jiu-jitsu and wrestling, countering for both of those. And I feel I've become an even better striker than I was 6 months ago.
Sure.
You know, as far as recovery, I've added the cryo with iCryo Sugarland, and I've also added the float tanks over at Urban Float in the Heights. You know, so I've added all of these other tools, you know, for a training camp, and I feel I put on a great performance, and I style on them the way I plan to. I don't see why I couldn't get another fight.
Putting on your journalism hat for a second and your analytical hat, outside of the top 2 fights and your fight, obviously, what fight are you looking forward to the most?
Man, one fight I'm looking forward to is the Carla Esparza,
Yes.
Claudia Gadelha. And here's why. Outside, I know Carla, we have a mutual friend. I was very impressed with her last fight, and I didn't pick her. I can't remember who her opponent was.
Cynthia?
Oh, that's right. It was Cynthia Cavillo.
At 219.
Yeah. I picked Cynthia just off of what I had seen in her previous fights, as well as Carla. But in that fight, she showed how, even though she's been in the game a long time as well, we saw a new Carla Esparza. We saw Carla who had definitely dedicated time to her striking, and we saw that. And so in this fight, I want to see what kind of Carla we're going to see next. You know, so I think that's the one of the fights I'm looking forward to. Also, one of the Curtis Blades and Alistair Overeem, a close personal friend of mine. He's an up-and-coming heavyweight prospect. Yeah, he was actually supposed to be out here. He's supposed to be my security. He's a huge guy. Because I didn't know what kind of spice Chicago was going to throw at me, so I had to bring the security out here for me. You know, but he's one of Curtis Blades' training partner, and his name is Juan Adams. They call him the Kraken. Great dude. I want to see. You know, I also want to see that. You know, and then I want to see if Alistair has returned from the upside down after that shot
from Ngannou.
You know,
yeah, I was there for that when I heard it.
So I want to see, you know, because I love watching Alistair fight.
Sure.
But again, you take a shot like that, that's a life-changing, not just a career, that's a life-changing shot, you know. And I want to see, what he comes back with.
And out of the top 2 fights, one of them is in your weight class, Colby Covington, RDA. As a journalist, do you like what Colby's doing?
No,
it brings the clicks.
I'll keep it PG, but he's just a terrible person.
Sure.
You know, he's very disrespectful, and I get what he's trying to do. I've seen some old stuff that Colby was doing, and so I kind of see where his mindset is. But again, a lot of guys are going the Conor McGregor route, or they're trying to go that route. But the thing is you have Conor who has the wittiness, and he's clever, and he says funny things. Like, Colby's just mean. Like, it's just mean and disrespectful. I'm just like I don't understand. You know, again, this is a sport. Like, we're not fighting out on the streets. You don't have to say these things, but I guess in his mind, he does. I don't know, but I think it does. It's a detriment to the sport. You know, it's definitely not helping anyone. And to have someone like that become a champion, it's almost heartbreaking, you know, because again, man, like I said, all the time that I've been here, you know, I'm passionate about this sport. I love it dearly, and that's why I'm still here. Like, I don't have to fight. You know, I can just sit and be a journalist or a photographer. Sure. But I love the sport. I love the competition. And you have someone like that, and if he becomes champion, man, that breaks my heart.
Do you think he gets it done against RDA?
No, I don't.
Finish?
Man, I ran to RDA last night in the workout room. That dude is huge.
He's a big guy.
That's a big. I was like, yo, you made 55. Now, I've fought at 55 before as well, but I'm not as big. I'm not as massive as this guy. I just looked at him, and he has to be over 200 pounds right now.
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, but again, he's been doing this as far as like fighting at an elite level for a long time, making these types of weight cuts. So I'm just going to assume he knows what he's doing here.
And on the flip side, the main event is 2 of the nicest people in the UFC, and Yoel Romero and Robert Whittaker. They were in this office, and they only had nice things to say about each other. And it might not sell fights, but like he beat him in the first time. What are you expecting in that one?
Man, you know, the crazy thing is people think that you have to be mean and you have to be like a Kobe or a Conor to sell fight. You don't have to. If you're a good fighter, if you have a great personality, that's all people. You need a good story, you know. And with Yoel, look, I love him. I love his style. I love it. I can just listen to Yoel talk. I know how the time I can't understand him with the, my Spanish is pretty good, but his, with that kind of voice. But I love it. I love hearing him talk. Robert, I was a little upset for a while. I thought he was a light-skinned brother. And then come to find out he's Australian, like my cousin Mick.
Yeah.
Oh, from New Zealand?
I think he has both sides.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed, but I still got my cousin Mick on my side, Mick Maynard. And I like them both. And again, I like their personalities. They're nice guys. There's no animosity. There's no heat. But as far as who wins, man, I don't know. I legit don't know. You look at Yoel, he's 42 years old. He looks like an action figure. And you have Robert Whittaker, he's an all-around talented individual. It's just who can impose their will.
And before we wrap up, before you came in, I was scanning your Twitter looking for any nuggets I can pull. You tweeted a clip, and this nothing to do with UFC 225, but you tweeted a clip of LeBron James talking about the Donald Trump thing. Would you go to the White House if invited? No. Why not?
I think he is, and when I say he, I mean Donald. He's just a terrible person.
Sure.
He's a terrible person, and he's making the country a terrible place. My thing is, and I know I get into politics on Twitter. My thing is, look, you talk about making America great again. First of all, we need to make America never been great, and we need to make America better than it ever has been. That's my line I like to say. If you're looking for a strong nation, right, you should want to unify the country. It doesn't matter. If we're all American, it shouldn't matter who's black, white, Mexican, or whatever. If we're all Americans, we need to unify the country. Sure. This guy is literally coming in and dividing everybody. And he's just a bad person. And I'll keep it there. He's just a terrible person. So if I ever, actually, I may go just like one of the little kids. I like the little kids. I like the little videos. He goes there and they'll say some funny stuff. But probably not. I outside of just being a troll, and being an athlete or a real person, I can't go.
And we'll end it on that. Mike the Truth Jackson, Esquire, takes on CM Punk Phil Brooks on the pay-per-view card UFC 225 this Saturday. First ever pay-per-view the UFC's ever brought to Chicago. You can tune it in Saturday. Thanks, guys.